this is Fiendish with Dimension Turing, and we're here tonight to talk about scaling with Dimension Tools version 1.9.10, which I also call DT 2.0. I have spread out in front of me some materials at their smallest size and at their largest size. Now, Rift Client uses game units when it sets a scale, and the smallest size for everything, no matter what it is 0.25. Unless, of course, it's an item like an elevator that cannot be resized. Those will always be just at 1. Now, for most items that we use for things like morphine, the maximum scale is 2. You see I've got some spiders out here, some gravestones, and these cool little braziers that I like to use. And there's quite a bit of difference depending on the item, what the scaling is, how small it gets to how big it gets. With some items it's pretty dramatic, and with others it's not so much. Now, building blocks, which is what most of the scaling is used for, especially absolute scaling, they're all standardized across the board except for the new ice blocks that just came out, and those are about to be fixed to where they are standardized. But a cube, its smallest size is 0.25, its biggest size is 0.5. With a rectangle and tiles and discs and poles and triangles, the smallest size is 0.25 and the biggest size is 12. And with planks, the smallest size is 0.25, but the maximum scale is 6. Now, a maximum scale of 6 on a plank makes it the same length as a rectangle. The main difference is going to be with the thickness. As you can see, that rectangle is much thicker than the plank is. But absolute scaling says that I want to take it from whatever size it currently is, and if I reset it, then I'm setting it back to the default of 1. Now, if I want to set it, say, to 6, scale, and there it is at 6. So it's now the same thickness as this plank, or it might be actually a little bit thinner, but it's not the same length anymore. For that, I want to scale it back to 12. Now, with the offset calculator, you won't need to worry about absolute scaling as much. However, it will come in when you're setting like boundaries. Say you're building a building and you want the size of the floor, then you're going to want to hard scale your floor piece. You're going to want to hard scale whatever you're using as a roof, and then copy and paste from there. So now you see that we've got relative scaling and as group. Relative scaling means that you're going to take it from where it currently is and move it from that point. Nope. Now that minus just sent it all the way down to minimum size, but if I reset it, now it's back to normal. Let's not get trapped under it as we go back to normal. And yeah, that's going to keep doing it that way. A lot of times what you'll see with these add-ons that are either no longer being updated, or like this one are still actually being worked on. The person that's working on this now is Katumi Brutbocht, and he's still tweaking and making a lot of changes and adding things to databases and updating and whatever it is the add-on writers do. So this is one of the areas where it's going to get looked at some more. Let me get rid of that. Now, we're in a place where relative scaling really shines is with sets. Let me try that again. I made a couple sets for this, and I also keep templates of a lot of shapes, especially round shapes, because I only want to have to make them once. Normally, if you do it with a lot of manual manipulation, it takes a long time and it gets tedious to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. So I make a template, and then all I have to do is save it, and if I want to change out the materials, then just copy and paste those later. So now I've got relative selected, I've got as group selected. I want to take this down to say 0.75, and there it is. That scaled each block down to a size of 0.75, and it also, because it was scaling from the center point, it also pulled in the entire radius so that everything lined back up without me really having to do anything. Normally, if you did this and then use hard scaled all those blocks to 0.75, then you'd have to manually adjust and bring all the blocks to where they were touching again. Now if I reset, it didn't change where that center point was, but it resized the blocks all back to 1. Easy fix for this when it's basically experimenting is to pull it and then just reload it. I highly recommend in situations like this that you play with it, experiment, see what works for you, what doesn't work for you, until you've got whatever you're comfortable with. It can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be. It's all up to you. The fun is how we get there. We'll each find our own fun. So now let's say I want to make this the maximum size, because it doesn't just work going smaller. I have no idea what I would ever use that for, but hey, I have it. And if I was to want to keep this and save it as a set, then I've just done it in a real easy way. Now the interesting thing is if I reset this, the block size change again, but that center point stayed the same. So let's pull those and load it up one more time. And we'll get into sets, loading and saving sets in another one, because there's a lot of neat things that you can do with that, like offsetting multiple versions of the same set. And we'll send that down to the lowest size and then reset it. Oh, crap. Scale it. And then, so as you can see, I'm even still learning a lot about this particular function because I don't use it that often. I'm still stuck in the toolbox thing of where I want to try to do as much as possible by hand, when I've got this that can do it for me, and it'll be a lot more precise than if it's depending on me for a physical manipulation. And then later on, we'll also cover a way to make this circle without even really touching anything. So until then, join me next time when I'll be starting on copy and paste, which is going to be a really long segment, and parts of that are going to be broken up into separate videos. Happy building!